On the surface, two of my previous videos may seem to contradict each other. In one video, I claim that the universe does not revolve around you. But in another video, I claim that it's even true that the world is flat, if that's the world you live in. If your world ends at the horizon, then it's true that the world is flat. I'll link these two videos in the description. They are not in contradiction with each other actually, because there are three layers of reality. We have physical reality, social reality, and psychological reality. The physical reality is there regardless of us. The social reality is something we construct together, always in negotiation over language and meaning and interpretation and culture and so on. While psychological reality is within each of us. These three layers interact with each other a lot. Our physical lives, our social lives, and our internal lives, they interact with each other all the time, affect each other. So in order to understand the lives we live, we need to see all three layers. Sadly, it is very common that a person see only one of the layers, or even just one part of the layer. For example, a person may understand his own psychological reality, but not understand that other people's minds are just as valid as his own. We have this constant debate about objectivity versus subjectivity, and they are both right, it's just different layers. The physical reality in itself is objective, and the psychological reality is totally subjective. In the physical reality, whatever is there, it's not a matter of opinion. But in the psychological reality, whatever you experience is whatever you experience. No one can really say that you're wrong. And the social reality between them is a constant negotiation where we need to make room for different experiences and needs and perspectives. Take, for example, the house that I'm sitting in here now. It exists, that's not a matter of opinion, and historically it was built by humans and machines. If you say that according to you this house was built by aliens, and with aliens you mean beings from outer space, then you're flat out wrong. If you say that this house was built by God, well, if you mean that in a literal sense, then you are completely wrong. Humans built this. If you mean it in some kind of metaphorical sense, that might be true to you, but that's your own psychological reality. It has nothing to do with the rest of us, really. On the other hand, if you start arguing about whether this is a house or an apartment, then you are on the social reality level, the part of social reality that is about language, what different words mean. And this is something we have to negotiate together, and we don't always have to agree on the meaning of words, but in order to be able to communicate with each other at all, we need to understand what the other person means. If we just talk past each other and have different definitions of everything, and just trying to push our definitions on each other, then we will not be able to understand each other at all. Culture is also a part of social reality, and there's not just one culture. Culture are not monoliths. I mean, people sometimes argue as if there were a few specific cultures and so on, That's not how it works. It's a continuum. Every person can be part of several different cultures, and two persons who consider themselves to be the same culture can interpret this culture in very different ways. And it's always important to consider on whose terms are we doing these definitions. Therefore, respecting culture is a very tricky subject. It is important to respect other people, but when we respect a group, it might not be about respecting the individuals in the group. It can be about respecting some abstraction built by people in power within the group at the expense of the people they have power over. So it's not black and white. These issues are really complicated and we need a nuanced understanding. Most importantly, we can't let respecting culture be a matter of either or, that either we don't respect the culture and the people who share it, or we respect every kind of outdated oppressive power structure that might be associated with that culture. So we have three layers of reality: physical reality, social reality, and psychological reality. If you think about it, I think you'll find it rather obvious that yes, we live in all these three realities all the time, and they interact with each other a lot, but they exist on rather different terms. However, what about the so-called supernatural? What about religion and spirits and gods and ghosts and all that kind of thing? Well, we don't have a consensus on that. I think there are two main ideas. One is that this spiritual reality is a subset of social and psychological reality, while others would argue that it exists outside of physical reality, outside of time and space itself, and then interact with us humans. Personally, I lean much more towards the first theory, but it really doesn't matter. We can respect people's experiences regardless of whether they have contact with something outside of time and space or not. However, we must respect all such experiences equally, which I will return to in a future video.